In this tutorial, we're going to use Photoshop CC 2020 to use color splash and destructive editing in order to create a different type of effect. So we can actually go from our regular picture to something we can play the hue, play with saturation, kind of create a different look and feel. So for this one, we're going to go ahead and use the color splash sunflower. Let's do a file, save as. You should have downloaded this one already. Do first initial, last name, underscore, color splash sunflower. And go ahead and save it as a PSD and save. Let's do an image. Let's do an image size. Double check to see how big we are. We're 24 by 21, which is pretty big, but our resolution is 72. So let's go ahead and change our width to about 6 and our resolution up to 300. Preserve details 2.0 is on and say OK. So make it a bit smaller. Well, another thing we can do here is use our spot healing tool to go through and fix some of the problems that this sunflower has. So if you haven't already, before you start playing spot healing, go to your edit, preferences, make sure your performance for your history states is set as high as possible, because you'll see as you start fixing the spots, every single time you go to fix something, it's actually going to use quite a bit number of steps. So my history states is up as high as it goes. I'm going to say OK. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and keep cleaning up my sunflower a little bit just so I get a slightly nicer looking picture. So this gives you a chance to both play with your, make sure your content aware is on as you're doing it as well. It'll make it look nicer. So I don't want to spend forever doing this, but I do want to get a slightly cleaner look for my flower. It's kind of a sad looking flower a little bit. Alright, so a few more rubs. You can always change the size of your, if you hold your shift or your space bar at the same time, you can grab it. So spot healing is a amazingly wonderful, easy tool to play with. Gives you a lot of options without a lot of work. Alright, so let's do Control minus, zoom back out, and it's already looking much better than it did before. And yes, it is possible to make them look worse. I have done that. So, alright, let's go ahead and do a Control S and save what we've got so far. Let's do an image auto tone, image auto contrast, kind of play with those colors just a little bit, make it a little bit brighter, make it look a little bit nicer. So we're going to go ahead and right click on the sunflower or the background layer in our panel and say duplicate layer. So this is where we have destructive editing going on, because we're actually going to mess with the actual pixels of the secondary layer. So you want to make sure it's all cleaned up before you do that. We're now going to go up to image. We're going to come down to adjustments. We're going to change it to black and white. So that top layer now is black and white. You can have it go auto. You can play with those levels. It's up to you. So you get a nice black and white layer. Now what we're going to do is we want to erase the black and white from what we want to reveal underneath. So right now we want to make sure we're on normal. We're going to go ahead and grab our quick selection. We want to make sure our enhance edge is on. We're on our plus, and anything that we select is what we want to reveal under the color. So right now I got a little bit of sky there. I don't necessarily want that, so I can use my minus and take out that section. When I've got it selected the way I want it, all I have to do is hit delete, and it's automatically going to reveal all those elements that basically we've made see-through. So I'm going to turn off my ants, turn my plus on, do another quick selection. until I get all of it selected that I want to reveal. So yes, you could just do single parts of a flower. You could just do little bits of things. It makes it relatively easy. So we're just going to go make sure we go through and select everything that we want to reveal. Maybe we don't want to do the center. Alright, so maybe I decide I don't like, if this is where, I've already decided to show the green. So in order to, if I wanted to hide it again, I'd have to go through and make another layer and make it black and white again. So make sure that what you reveal is what you actually want to include. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and do this leaf also. Alright, so I can zoom in. So anything you reveal is what you're going to see. You can't go back after the fact and hide it and change it the way you could with the masks. Alright, so now I've got my color. I've got my thing selected. And if I want to, I can now use the adjustments layer. I can play with hue and saturation. I can change the color. But make sure you're changing it on the background, on the first background. Otherwise, when you go to do it, it won't work right. So here we can play, change your colors, change your saturation. So you can see you can get a lot of different effects pretty easily, pretty quickly, but it is destructive, so you would have to go back and change things out in order to fix them again. So save this one as file, save as. We've got it as Color Splash Sunflower. You can save it as a JPEG if you wanted to post it somewhere else. Otherwise, the PSD is fine for turning in. And we're going to hit save. So you're going to go ahead and find one more image that you want to try the destructive mode on and see which one you like better, working with masks or working with the destructive. It really depends on how much freedom you want after the fact. That's all for this one.